Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel for our Saturday craft day. We are going to do things a little bit differently for the next few weeks. We're going to do an embossing paste mini-series, and I'm going to show you 3 different techniques using embossing paste over the course of our next 3 Kraftgali design team videos, starting with this first one, which is stenciling. So most of us use embossing paste for stenciling techniques, so we're going to do that with a little bit of flair today, add on a little something something on the end. And I'm going to start out by laying out this awesome Neat and Tangled stencil here. This one is so much fun to use, and I'm going to be using some Deco Foil Metallix embossing paste. This has a very, very gel-like creamy finish, if you will. It's really easy to work with and to spread over your stencil. And quite frankly, it's a hoot. It's so much fun. So I'm going to get that all over my stencil and then wait for the most underwhelming reveal of your life. So when you do a gray on gray technique, there's nothing earth-shattering here. However, we are going to jazz this bad boy up in just a little bit. So we're going to come back to that. But it is kind of fun to see that little subtle embossing look. Okay, this one though is going to be a little bit more of a stark contrast. So doing the same thing, just putting it on my palette knife. I've seen tools out there that you can use to spread this stuff out. You can use an old gift card, you can use whatever you have is fine. But I'm just going to smooth it out as much as possible. And I'm okay with a little bit of texture, and I'm also okay not covering this completely. So this one, you can see that stencil pop out a lot more. And it just looks really, just good. Really stark and good. Put my stencil away, that's how I keep them stored, just so that they are used a lot more and all in one place. Now let's go back to that first one, because we are going to make that a little fancified. And I'm going to pour some glitter embossing powder all over it. And I'm going to speed this up like super warp speed. I think 8 times I speed it up in here. But when I put this heat to my embossing paste and my embossing powder, not only does it melt the embossing powder, it heats up my stuff and dries it up real quick, but it also started to bubble at the end. I'm guessing because it's probably got a paint-like fixture or a paint-like makeup of it. It started to bubble up, which I thought was the coolest effect. So not only was it embossing off of the paper, but it also had a little bit more texture than I had originally planned, so I like that. And then here's our piece of the other one. Now this one's still a little tacky. I think it's only a couple, maybe an hour or so after. Still a little tacky, so I'm going to take out this really pretty teal foil from Ranger, and I am going to maximize that tackiness by placing it down and then pulling up the foil. So I don't show you the whole thing. I just go back and forth and just fill it up as much as I can. But I like how it's kind of got this, I don't know, like abstract-y look to it. So I'm really happy with that, almost like a distressed look. Okay, I'm going to cut these down with this one with a Lawn Fawn rectangle stitch die using my Gemini Junior die cutting machine. And I'm going to get that out. I'm going to only trim down the other one. I take out a piece of gray cardstock. This is from Michaels, and it's 110-pound cardstock. And I am going to then use my EK Success Score Buddy to score that in the middle. I don't like to bend or fold my really heavy cardstock because I get a lot of warping right where the crease is, so I like to score it first. I'm going to trim this down just a wee bit so that I can put that, you can kind of see the mat behind it. There's my little thing AJ made me to hold my embossing bag. I love it. It's my favorite thing in my craft room. And I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool because I'm using black cardstock and I don't want a lot of speckles here, because I'm going to take out this stamp set, or this stamp from, this one's from Hero Arts, from a Father's Day set. And I'm just going to stamp out Happy Father's Day. Take my little dry brush, wipe away some of the white strays. I'm using super fine embossing powder here, so that's why even with the anti-static powder tool, I got a little bit of straying. So I'm going to heat set that, and I just love, and don't forget to wipe off your powder, by the way. I just love the white embossing on black cardstock. I just think it's such a nice, clean look, and I do multiple sentiments like this and just keep them stashed away next to me so that I can just pull one out. Okay, so here are our 2 cards. Now, I am going to use some double-sided adhesive here on some fun foam. And no, this is just regular black cardstock. And then I'm going to place another piece of that foil straight down because I want to make accent elements with this foil, but it's so thin You can't unless you put it on something. So I'm going to put it all over this Stick It adhesive, or this double-sided adhesive here. And then I'm going to pull off the foil sheet. And if you ever wondered, it really does come off clean because that is fully foiled completely. Now I have this old school punch in my stash. You might have a die or something like that that can cut out this bow. I'm not going to make a full decorative bow, but I am going to use elements to make a bow tie. So I am going to first take one of the pieces of the bow tie. I actually end up using all of these pieces in the card, but I'm going to curl it around just a utensil, a pencil, a pen, anything you have. And then I'm going to take a glue dot. Glue dots are great when you're putting these types of things together because liquid adhesive, you have to hold it and it takes a few seconds. This glue dot, boom, done. Then I'm going to put those two pieces together and wrap around that little tiny piece that comes with it. And then we have a completed bow tie. Again, using glue dots to affix all of these elements. More double-sided adhesive on some fun foam now, and I'm going to put that on my gray card base. And I usually use a gray card base, so I thought that was a lot of fun and different for me. Watch out, people. Stepping outside the comfort zone. And then I'm going to put down my Happy Father's Day with some liquid adhesive, some art glitter glue, final 2 glue dots right behind the bow. And then to make sure that that stays nice and snug, I'm going to take my little paintbrush or a pen or whatever you have and press that down right underneath that bow. So my glue dots stay nice and stuck. Okay, the other card, Fun Foam, I have backed it on black cardstock and then on top of the black cardstock some Fun Foam. I'm going to put that down. Now because I have a very glittery surface here on the front, I'm going to use some art glitter glue. It turns out it worked really well, just needed some drying time. But on these other pieces, which I used a hexagon punch just to make it a little bit more of a manly, masculine type of element, I am going to use some multi-medium matte because that is super strong. So I'm going to hold that down. And then I went back and forth with this stinking bow here. Do I want the bow? Do I not want the bow? It just, then I was out without the bow. So you'll see in the final pictures what my decision was. It's neither here nor there. I think it looked good either way. That's probably why I was on the fence so long. So that is our first video of this mini series of the embossing techniques. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's video because we're going to be playing with some Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel, and we're going to be making our own image on top of a card panel without a stencil. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget to head over to the shop and check out everything that Kraftgali has in store. Awesome deals all the time. Great stuff, great supplies. And you know I love chatting with you in the comment section, so we'll see you down there and I'll list everything I used. Have a great week. Bye-bye.